Hi everybody, I'm Randy Ridings, and this is the Quadyak Coast to Coast. In 2013, my father and I built a human-powered amphibious velomobile. In 2018, I started a trip from the West Coast in Oregon, headed towards the East Coast. I'm glad to have you with me and hope you follow along to the end.
I am off the Pearl River. So, the little town of Monticello, Mississippi. I got interviewed by the paper, did some shopping, did some laundry, and now I'm leaving town. It's like almost 6:30. I'm gonna be taking back roads to Prentice. Well, I gotta say, they are pretty friendly here. I had more people pull up beside me, wave, say hi, take pictures than anywhere else I've ever been. Alright, turned off 184 onto Arm Road. This is St. Stephen's Road. Turning down almost any little road. Throw a tent up and nobody would care. So that's it for July 29th. About 5 miles outside of Monticello. Good morning, July 30th. My little stealth camping spot. Got about 12 miles to Prentice, where the Longleaf Trace bike trail starts. My air mattress is getting worse. I'm going to be suffering until I get to Hattiesburg. Well, I goofed up. I turned on Rogers, not Progress, and that led me to 184, which I have that shoulder. So I'm tightrope walking with my right wheel between a rumble strip and a drop off. There's not a lot of traffic. There are semi-trucks. I'm watching behind me carefully. All right, and I'm off 184. I had put on my notes that 184 was just unacceptable. Out in the road, I got nowhere to go. Semis were being very nice. They were moving over. It seems like the bigger the vehicle, the better the driver in a way. At one point, there was a car and a semi and me on that road all together. And the semi basically just crowded that car off onto his rumble strip on his side. And I am in Prentice. Right ahead of me is the trail. Alright, taking off from Prentice, Mississippi at about 12:30 on the 30th of March for the 44 miles of the Longleaf Trace to Hattiesburg. I'm not going to really push it because I'm just going to kind of enjoy having a nice little bike trail for a while. But since it's flat, I should actually be moving along pretty good. So I might be on a slight decline. Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, but I'm going 10 miles an hour. Not pushing hard because I pushed hard this morning over those hills. Ooh, turtle. Hey, buddy. There's my high-speed footage for you. I'm liking this trail. It is smooth and flat and fast. And I recognize this. This is high winds. I seem to remember a tornado touching down here maybe about a year ago. See, I'm from Joplin. I know what tornado damage looks like. They have these little rest stops set up. Pretty sure I'm going to be camping on one of these tonight. Bad thing is, man, the mosquitoes are thick through here. I am going slow enough. They're catching me while I'm riding, which is very rare. I'm just outside of Bassfield. I like this little bench right here. It's a little miniature, like 2-person picnic table. So 26 miles in about 7 hours. Good morning, July 31st. I am at the Sumrall station on the Longleaf Trace. They have a nice pavilion, they have bathrooms, water fountain. Probably only have about 18 to do today to get to Hattiesburg. I'll have to ride across town. I don't remember what that was. I want to say it might have been as much as 7 miles to get me to the launch place on the Leaf River. Other thing that happened last night, right as I was setting up my tent, snap, and the pole brakes broke right at the end. Got out a pair of vice grips. I now have one pole that is that much shorter than the other, but it worked. Tent still went up. I am starting from Summerall, and it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I was stopping and talking, and one gentleman asked him if he knew where I could get off the trail to Hattiesburg to get a mat. So he's thinking about this option and that option. Finally goes, you know what? Right when you go off the trail, there's a trail office. I'll just get one and leave it there for you. I'll just donate it to your trip. I'm like, okay. There's the 17-mile marker. Might be on the Leaf today. Mile marker 13, that's the sign there. And there is a beaver pond rest stop. Stadium seating to birdwatch. Alright, mile marker 9. I'm in single digits. Woo-woo. Alright, I'm getting close to Hattiesburg. I am at the Hattiesburg Gateway. We're seeing this station here. So I went and checked, and here's where he left the mat. They were open, they had it. So I now have a brand new sleeping mat. That is awesome. So people talk about river angels and trail magic, and it does happen. So I'm doing a little food inventory here in Hattiesburg. I think I got about 8 or 9 days worth of food here. It took me 5 days to do the pearl. I think it might take me 10 days to do the leaf and the Pascagoula. Going across Hattiesburg on their very well marked, very well maintained bike trail. What I'm looking for is a thing called Chain Park, which is kind of over there, and I'm pretty close. This is Chain Park, east corner of it. I found it. I did 21 miles today so far on the Longleaf Trace and through Hattiesburg. So a lady volunteered to go to the store to pick me up some stuff. Got me chicken and Spam and crackers and coffee, water, and some noodles. Would not let me pay for it. I mean, it's got to be $30, $40 worth of food here. You know, I resupplied for about 12 or 15 days, which is what I got. I got 8 or 10 days of this river. Didn't have the food for it, so I do now. Successful launch on the Longleaf River at Hattiesburg, Mississippi, at about 3 o'clock on July 31st. Not so much problems with the alligators, but there are problems with the water moccasins. I believe my weapon of choice is going to be a paddle. These guys have said that like one night they killed 9 of them around their camp. I'm still trying to get the flavor of this river. Every river has kind of a character. This one did not get flooded like the Pearl, so there's not so much debris. But there is little chutes, and I wouldn't call them rapids yet, but a lot of these bridges seem to have little drop-off kind of things. I'm trying to pick which one I like the best. Alright, let's get in the middle of that. Hit the V. This ought to be it. That was hit well. I was beginning to get worried because I had not seen any good camping sandbars. A lot of it was more like this. Alright, I've been doing 2 miles, and there's my first one. They've channelized some of this river and made true racetracks. I'm going like 4.2 miles an hour through here. Don't hit that. Go. I just barely hit it. No. Get away from that log. So I'm at 7 miles, and I just saw my first alligator. There's a wild bend through here. Made more complicated because a boat just went through here. So this is his wakes. They're just bouncing all over the place. Hit him straight on. So my first night on the Leaf, I did about 19 on land today, I think, and 11 by water. That on July 31st. Good morning. August 1st. Day 31 of this summer, and it appears I'm stuck on this sandbar. I'm trying to lift the axle to put it in a better position. For an hour now, I've tried to get 2 bolts to go in. I kind of wish we would have made that system a lot simpler. I mean, it's great in a shop. After an hour trying to get 2 bolts to go in, I am going to sit here and make some coffee. Now that I've taken the other ones out, I can't go back to the way it was either. That'd be even harder, I think, right now. It's about an hour later. It's now about 8:30. I now have the 2 bolts. I have one all the way in and one halfway in. It's just going to have to do it. This is my last long stretch of river. After this, I will put the wheels back into road configuration. As long as this holds for, 8 or 10 days. Arglebarg. Right when I go, okay, time to pack up and go. I'm ready. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not ready. I still have to install my blue gables. That'll be pretty simple, but it also involves a lot of bending over again. Yeah, today's going to be a low mileage day, but in the end, it's much more efficient. Alright, successful launch. The drive is so much smoother with the axle lifted. It just splashes less, puts more energy in the water. Yesterday, a gentleman bought me an air mattress when he found out that mine had been leaking on me and I've been having bad nights of sleep. And then, when I got to the boat ramp, I needed water, I needed just a few little food things. And the lady said, oh, I'll go, here, give me a list. And it was like easily $40 worth of food. All in one day, which, coincidentally, is my brother's birthday. I have to give him a hard time that I got all his birthday presents. All that in one day, two people giving me money, one person giving me food, one person giving me a piece of equipment. Happy birthday, Ryan. Today is August 1st. I need to be back by September 1st. Means I've got a month to finish this thing. Crossing southern Mississippi, Alabama, and the Panhandle and body of Florida. August is the right time to do that, right? Back into playing Dodge Snag. More than I thought I was going to have to on this river. Done a little over an hour and a half and done 5 3/4 miles. This is quite the collection of little river houses down here. I'm seeing families out on the beach and fishermen out and just people out kind of Sunday joyrides. I've done 14 miles in 5 hours. I am going to take a little break. It is hot. This is the Leaf River. Beautiful sandbars. This would be a fantastic camping sandbar. Alright, that ain't so bad. It looked ugly. Coming around that corner, all you could see was logs across the whole thing, but main channel's open. There's something kind of funny. I meet up with people on the river. They ask me where I'm going. I say Florida, and they're like, oh my God, Florida. Where'd you come from? Oregon. Like, Oregon? Wow. You're going to Florida? Oh, that's a long ways away. Okay, Florida's one state over. Oregon is an entire country away. I've made 3,700 miles and I might have 500 left. People around here have the reference point of knowing that Florida is a long ways. I think I'm near New Augusta. There's a boat ramp. There's a campground at it. A couple of curves, look for a bridge, ramp on the left. So that is it for August the 1st. I did exactly 20 miles today. Got a little camp sites here. Got the tent set up. Dinner's almost done. Good morning. August 2. Got a little sea smoke happening over there. This is the kind of traveling I like to do. Up the racetrack along this current in the shade with no snags. 3.7 miles an hour. I ask people along the river a lot if they know how far it is to the Pascagoula River or even all the way to the Gulf. The answers you get are interesting. In one day, I heard 42, 75, and 300. I think it's about 150. 75 is road distance, so I'm doubling that to get my water distance. Saw a bunch of color down there, but what it looks like is a group of kayakers going down the river. So it'll be kind of fun to actually just meet some other people going down the river. Just stopped for a midday break with a family, sat around talking to them, sit in the shade, they gave me a Coke. That was nice. Kids pretty interested in the Quadyak. Well, the adults were too. It was fun. Well, not more than a mile after I left that one family, came across another family. Less than a mile ahead of them, I see another group of people down here. It's just nice to see people out on the river. I've gone down so many nice rivers, there's just nobody on them. I'm in a sandbar just a few miles upriver from McLean. Made 25 miles today. Good morning. Today is August 3rd. Day 33 of this summer. Day 137 of the entire trip. Bridge should just be 5 miles down. And then a family that volunteered to help me out with whatever I needed is another like 7 or 8 miles past that. This comes together with the Chickasaw to form the Pascagoula. I think I might have okay current until I get really near the Gulf. It's 8 o'clock and I'm just about to launch. The water went down again, and I mean pretty significantly. I mean, you can see what's newly wet here. I think I've got to get this thing out 50 feet now or more to get it to float. Well, I just saw my first alligator. Just kind of watch to see if he doesn't follow me. I have had alligators follow me before in other boats. He was pretty good size. I'd put him in the 7 to 9 foot range anyway. You may see my legs are just covered in sweat. Today will be a really good day to take a long midday break. It is sweltering hot. So I've done almost 14 miles and 5 hours. What I gotta look for is a dock with a red ribbon tied to it. Right after I put the camera down, I looked up and I saw a dock down here with red on it. And I looked and there's a lady sitting on it and a red ribbon tied to it. So I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going. It's right out there. I'm filming them while they're filming me, just leaving the Clarks. Their daughter hooked me up with them, got me all filled up with water, gave me a little snack bag. They're gonna mail a package for me. I hate when the current tries to take me into a jungle. I'm trying to go through that gap right there if I can make it. Yoinks, man, somebody lost a whole forest in here. All right, I got a river coming in from my left. Leaf, Pascagoula, Chickasaw. Well, it's confirmed. I am now on the Pascagoula. First night on the Pascagoula. Just came down a couple of miles and found a sandbar. Made about 21 miles today, and I took a long break in the middle of the day. I'm gonna try to Google like how long is the Pascagoula River. That should give me river miles all the way down to the Gulf. I need to take a day off. It isn't gonna be anytime soon. I've been going for 21 days without a break. I normally, take a full day off like every 10 days or so. With the coronavirus, you just stop on a sandbar and hang out in the sun all day. Maybe I should have found a park. My body's gonna need to take a rest from paddling that thing every single day. By far the longest stretch I've done uninterrupted. Good morning, August 4th, day 34 of this summer on the Pascagoula River. My first morning. This water is dropping as well. Launch, my first full day on the Pascagoula. I'm only a couple miles into it, so I'm going to just count it as 80 miles from here. I looked it up online. So far, I'm seeing a lot less snags, and it's bigger. It's about twice the size of the Leaf because two rivers that are about the same size come together. I have found a bike shop that's about 15 miles west of where I'm coming out of the river. Who said, yeah, park the car here, leave your rig here when you move your vehicle around. Yet crew, and I think one of his sons is just going to go up, get my car, pick it up, drop it off down there. So I'm never even going to meet him. I know some people it might sound weird entrusting your car to somebody you've never met before. It's not that great a car. This is kind of how you gotta do things like this. You gotta kind of trust people. I'm gonna try to find somebody local to Pascagoula that has a pickup truck that would meet me, pick the Quadyak up, take me to the bike shop, drop me off there. Then I can hop in the car, drive it to St. Augustine or some point, be the last push. But it's most inland. Whoa! That's what happens when you hit an underwater log. Man, I am stuck. Oh, all right, I gotta get off this thing. Whew, wow, that was one of the worst ones I've ever come across. That thing grabbed me and picked me up out of the water and would not let go of me. Most of the time I just slide over them, and it was leaning me upriver, which was in danger of me flooding this thing with water. I reached behind me with the paddle, tried to push. I couldn't ever reach anything. I couldn't find where I was hung. Maybe I just started rocking back and forth and rocking forward, and I could feel it kind of slide forward about an inch every time I did that. So I just kept doing that, and then I finally just kind of slid off of it. Just sat and had a nice chat with those gentlemen. They're saying the river should stabilize depth-wise now. It's come down to about where it's going to stay. I'll have the river that's kind of the normal river through here. That, I believe, is the 26 bridge. And after that, supposedly, I don't see another bridge for 30 miles. This is when I go into the real kind of wilderness stuff. I won't necessarily be where I couldn't get any help if I needed to, but walking out of here would be pretty rough. Pascagoula is touted as one of the last unchanged rivers. And that's kind of true, but like that is a retaining wall that's been built. There are no dams. There aren't any wing dikes. There's petroleum pipelines that cross this, and then of course the bridges that go across. So it's not completely natural. It's quite a pretty river. So past the 26 bridge, it ain't much, but it's shade. Here's my little rest spot. Sit out the heat of the day because it's getting hot. Trying something new today. Instead of getting out my camp chair, I got the mat and prop it up and kind of go Barco lounger on this piece of shade. I've been told the water moccasins were bad I was looking for the big guys. I wasn't really thinking about the little guys. He might be dead, might be asleep. I'm not gonna bother him. It seems to be cooling down, but I think that might just be me because you may notice I'm wearing different clothes. I just took a river bath. I kept thinking I'd get to a shower point, but I never did. Alright, just checking the weather. It's 93 now with a real feel of 100. So the next few days, 91, 92, 94, 95, 96, 95. I cannot ride through the middle of the day like this now. A little boat ramp. It was public. And talked to a fisherman that was up there, and he said that they're spaced along down here, and I'd hit a couple a day probably. It's called Big Spring. You know what? I'll just top up a couple of water bottles. Went to step on the platform. It was kind of sloped down, moss growing all over it. It was like I stepped onto ice. I did the Three Stooges, whoop, 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 boom, and down I went. Landed on my hip. My arm went 6 inches into the ground, into the mud beside it. Bent my wrist all backwards. So I'm hurting now. I had a little bit of back pain before I stopped. I have a lot of back pain now. It'd be ironic to be taken out by a water source after all this time. It can be dewy and wet in the mornings, and it can be hot in the middle of the day here. But for about the last 2 hours of the day, just fantastic here. Yeah, I'm going to stop in just a few minutes. I'm at 23 now. I'll probably get to about 24. Alright, well, this is my good morning and launch video on the morning of August 5th, day 35 of the trip. Got the mist rising and the sun rising on what I believe is my second out of about 3 days on the Pascagoula River. This mist is just cool looking. It's swirling around. There's actually even the paddles are picking some of it up. There's little wind currents in there, so there's actually like little miniature tornadoes. There's one right there, about 6 feet high. These little pockets of shade get smaller and smaller towards the middle of the day. I've done about 11 miles, about 4 hours. There are things that I don't like about river trail. It is slow. Your feet are never dry, but there are things I'm going to miss. You get these rivers to yourself. You get free sandbar camping every night. You just go where you want to go, you stop where you want to stop. Part of me is like, man, I can't wait to get off these rivers. I've been on rivers for so long. I did 700 miles of the Arkansas, 200 of the Mississippi, 100 and something of the Pearl, 75 of the Leaf. I'll be doing about 80 of the Pascagoula. This is all coming to a close. Kind of glad because I'll be at the Gulf. Once it's over, then it starts getting so much harder to find a place to camp, a place to stop and rest. Be leaving this behind, and I'm gonna kind of miss it, I think. You know, I keep talking about the alligators, but I hear tales of other beasts on this river. Huge, huge, blue and white with horn coming out of their head. I think it's just a story. I don't really believe in that kind of thing, but I'll keep my eyes open. Well, it's 4 o'clock and it is still scorching. I got a little bit of a nap, and my car is in Pascagoula. It got moved, dropped off at the bike shop there. I just rolled over 20 miles, and it looks like I'm just going to get about another 1 to 2. Sandbars start getting pretty sparse through here. There isn't another one for like 5 or 6 miles. I think I'm gonna have to stop a little early. Start getting to where the sandbars are like 10 miles apart through here. Found my sandbar at 21 miles. So that's it for the 5th. One of the tough things is finding a flat place to put a tent. Good morning. August 6th. Day 140 of the entire trip. You know what sounds like a gunshot ripping through your tent at about 5:30 in the morning? When one of your tent poles snaps. This is the second pole that snapped on this tent. Not real happy about that. Luckily it's not punctured through the top of the tent. We had one more day on this river, and I'll be back at my car, and in my car is my other tent. The other tent is not holding up well to the rain. But man, that scared. It was about 5:30 in the morning. No rain, no wind. I didn't bump it. I was laying there. And pow! Rural Mississippi. I hear gunshots out here all the time. I thought somebody had shot through this tent. Fisherman buddies that gave me a Coke earlier in the day came by right at dinner time, gave me a Dr. Pepper. It was like delivery, man. It was fantastic. He told me I picked the best sandbar for the next 20 miles. He said there's only like 3 between here and there's a marina about 20 miles away. When I was out west, I would occasionally have mice underneath my tent. Last night I heard something under the tent and I was like, please don't be a water moccasin, please don't be a water moccasin. It was kind of small. I think that's just a mouse. Well, it's not a mouse, but that little guy, little toad. I had a whole evening full of interesting sounds. Somewhere during the night, a tree fell over there. But since I was here, then it made a sound. It seemed to take forever. It was that woke me up. The other sound I heard last night was I heard the river singing. Pascagoula River is known as the Singing River. Kind of it'd come up and then I wonder if it's some kind of acoustic thing with the sand, all these ripples. Good grief, there was like 6 owls talking to each other last night for like an hour. Like I said, last night was the night of sound. It was unbelievable. Now I get to try to take this tent down without damaging it. Oh, there's your problem right there. Maybe I could cut that off. It would still probably work. I got another river coming in here. I think this is like Black Creek. Okay, now that's a pretty big boy. He's probably 10-footer. 5 miles from here, there is a ramp. There's a little bait store there that has cold drinks. This little sighting reminds me of a phrase in Latin, Icthio capitis paratus, which means fish heads at the ready. And that joke is so old and so inside, only about 4 people would have even got it 30 years ago. Alright, leaving the Cumbest Landing. Little bait shop up there, got some Gatorade and water. Done about 16 miles today. I got at least 3 more hours. I can hear something really big moving in those woods. And I hope it's not what I think it is. Really big alligator. Because if he's coming down now, he's probably coming over. I'm hoping it's wild pigs. Ooh, I see. Oh, no, I see it. It's a bear. Oh, no, that might be a pig. Let me get my binocular. I'm pretty sure it was a pretty good size boar pig. Big shoulders, narrower at the hips, and I think I saw tusks. Signing off on the 6th. Made 19 miles today. I think I'm about 5 miles from where east and west Pascagoula River split. I came up, I was a little worried. There's a real brown sign. But that brown sign says that this sandbar is public access. Good morning, August 7th, day 37 this summer, 141 for the whole trip. I am on one of the last sandbars on the Pascagoula River. I believe I am about 16 or 17 miles from my takeout point, which normally would be a fairly easy day, except that the current is slowing down. Hey little guy, just don't sting me, that's all I ask. I believe I'm about 4 miles above the east-west split. Pascagoula River splits into 2 channels. I'm going to take the west one and then go down to Highway 90. I'll cross I-10 at some point. So my landmarks today are to hit that split for the east-west channels, then I-10, and then Highway 90. Also, I'm about to break out of woods and get into marshland. I am drifting, and I do see that I'm moving, but my watch is reading 0, which means I'm drifting at less than 1 mile an hour. The sandbar is right back there, and I've taken the last 4 minutes to put my shoes on, and I've gotten that far. I am losing my current out here, which means that the next 16 to 18 miles is going to be pretty rough. Behind me is the Pascagoula River. To my left is Little River, which becomes the East Pascagoula, and to my right is the West Pascagoula, which is what I'm taking. At about 6 miles in 2.5 hours, and I'm pulling up to the world's smallest sandbar to take a break. Been reminding myself when I get down to this area that I need to pay more attention to the maps and figure out where the main channel is and where the side channels are. Now, what I'll do is I'll go out here and wait to see which way the current takes me. It would seem like I am out in the middle of nowhere, and I kind of am, but I can see 2 different water towers up there. But where there are water towers, there are people. Alright, got a little bit of a break. I'm down to 1.5 miles an hour now. But it looks like I'm about 1.5 miles from I-10 and then 3 miles later to Highway 90. Not really going to take a midday break today. I'm just going to push through. There is the I-10 bridge and what's probably the last sandbar on the Pascagoula River. Alright, about to go under the I-10 bridge. I'm at about 13 3/4 miles for today. I called this a 13.5, so I'm doing pretty good. Because I should have 3.5 more miles after this. Well, I picked up a current out here, and it's probably because of the tide. I'm back going 3.2 miles an hour. Saw some bugs on a wire out there and realized I was looking at Highway 90. I know I still need to kind of head that direction generally around one of these points. So I looked through my binocular and I could see my landing. Through a very lucky set of turns, I got out of the bayous I was in and was headed straight at where I needed to be. I've had more boaters go by close to me, throw up big wakes in over 1,000 miles on the water. I've never had the problems I've had with other boats till the last 5 miles of this. They're like, hey, what's that thing in the water over there? Let's go buzz by real fast. And they do, and they're like, oh, there's a person in there. The spray off the wake hit me. That's how close they were. That one almost rolled me. I mean, I've weathered wakes from barges in the Mississippi and the Arkansas River. I think luckily I got a lot of weight in this thing right now. I think if I was traveling light, if I was a canoe or a kayaker, I'd have been upside down. It didn't seem like it was out of malice. They were just checking me out, but they didn't slow down. But he wasn't the only one. I mean, there's been 5 boats come way, way too close to me. Pretty much right past these 2 bridges is the Gulf of Mexico. I am approaching my landfall. Trying to make it through these reeds to get to that spot right there. I have made landfall. This is the West Pascagoula behind me. That is Highway 90 ahead of me. This is the last of my river travel. I went over about 3,900 miles today, I believe.
Join me in the next video where I post the next leg of this trip. You can also follow along on the Quadyak's Facebook page and check out my other Quadyak videos in the other playlist that shows how we built it and other trips I've done. Or if you just want to support me and my videos and future projects, please check that out. Thank you very much. I'm Randy Ridings, and this is the Quadyak Coast to Coast trip.